What if one morning you opened your eyes and the world was gone? No family, no friends, no strangers on the street, just you, alone. At first, maybe you wouldn't believe it. You'd step outside expecting to see cars rushing by, neighbours heading to work or kids running to school, but instead, there's nothing. No footsteps, no voices, only silence. And that silence feels wrong. At first, maybe you'd laugh. Maybe you'd think, this is crazy, maybe I'm dreaming. You'd walk through the empty streets calling out, expecting someone to answer, but nobody does. You shout louder. Still no one. And then it hits you. You are the only person left. Day 1. Freedom. The first day would almost feel like a game. Imagine walking into any store you want, taking anything you want. No security cameras, no cashiers, no lines. You could grab the best clothes, the fanciest watches, even cars. You could break into mansions, wander through luxury hotels, even live in a skyscraper penthouse. For the first few hours, maybe it feels like freedom, total control, a world without rules. But as the sun sets, the feeling changes. The silence that felt peaceful in the day becomes heavy at night. Every building creaks. Every gust of wind sounds like footsteps. You turn corners expecting to see someone. But there's only shadows. The freedom starts to feel like a trap. The first night. When night falls, cities become darker than you've ever seen. With no one to maintain power plants, electricity begins to shut down. Entire blocks sink into darkness. Streetlights flicker and die. The world becomes a black void, broken only by the pale glow of the moon. And that's when the loneliness sinks in. You sit in the dark, listening. No cars, no voices. Not even the distant hum of electricity. Just your own breathing. And then, you start to hear things. Or maybe imagine them. A whisper in the next room. A shadow moving just out of sight. The longer you sit in silence, the louder the silence gets. The first week. By the end of the first week, survival becomes real. Sure, food is everywhere at first. Stores are full, shelves stacked. But with no refrigeration, fresh food spoils fast. Meat rots. Fruit grows mold. Milk sours. You'd need to learn quickly. Grab canned food, bottled water, anything sealed. But even then, supplies won't last forever. And then there's water. Without people, pumping stations would fail. Tap water would run dry. You'd need to search for bottled water, or figure out how to purify rainwater. And in that search, you'd wander into darker and darker places, basements, abandoned factories, empty schools, places that once felt safe, now filled with nothing but echoes. And with every step, the question grows louder in your mind. Why are you the only one left? When the mind turns humans as social creatures. Our brains are wired for connection. Without it, the mind begins to crack. After just a week, you might find yourself talking to objects, setting a plate across from you at dinner, saying goodnight to a stuffed animal. At first, you laugh at yourself. But then, the laughter doesn't sound like your own. Shadows start to move when you're not looking. Hallways feel longer. Windows feel like they're watching you. You swear you hear footsteps behind you, but when you turn around, nothing. And yet, the fear doesn't go away. It grows. The unanswered question. At some point, you stop asking where is everyone and start asking something much darker. What if something else is still here? Because when you walk through a city and see every car left in the road, every house with dinner still on the table, every store abandoned mid-shift, it doesn't look like people left willingly. It looks like they were taken. Taken by what? That question gnaws at you until the silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels full, full of something unseen, something watching. The first month. By the end of a month, the world is decaying. Streets grow wild as weeds and grass take over. Buildings creak as if they're alive. Animals reclaim the land. Packs of dogs, flocks of birds, maybe even predators wandering into cities. But the scariest thing isn't nature. It's your own mind. You start to lose track of time. Days blur together. You can't tell if it's been 30 days or 300. You look in mirrors and don't recognize yourself. Your voice sounds strange, like it belongs to someone else. You stop trusting your own thoughts. Sometimes you wake up at night convinced someone was in the room with you. Other times you catch yourself whispering answers to questions you never asked. And then, one night, as you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, you hear it. A knock. Not a creak, not the wind. A clear, sharp knock. And it's coming from your front door. The horror of the unknown. Do you open it? Your heart races. You tell yourself it's impossible, no one's here. You're alone. But the knock comes again, louder this time. And then, silence. You wait. Hours pass. Nothing. The next morning, you convince yourself it was in your head. Just the silence playing tricks. But then, as you walk down an empty street, you see something that makes your blood run cold. A footprint. Fresh. Not yours. Someone else is here. The truth you'll never know. From that moment on, the world isn't just lonely, it's dangerous. Every empty building could be hiding something. Every shadow could be watching. Every sound could mean you are not as alone as you thought. But who or what is it? Another survivor? Something less human? Something that made the rest of the world vanish? And worst of all, why did they leave you behind? So, what if you woke up as the last person on Earth? At first, maybe it feels like freedom. But then the silence begins to whisper, the shadows start to move, and the longer you survive, the more you realize that being the last person alive might be worse than death. Because if the world is truly empty, then who or what knocked on your door last night?